Hey guys, so as I said, I was going to start a little YouTube channel to delve into some issues a little bit more deeper than what I can on Instagram stories. I think my first one, and a lot of women have been asking me these questions throughout the year because you've been following my journey with my hormonal issues, my cycle, my periods. So that's what I'm going to start with today. Back end of the story is this year, January 1st, I put some serious New Year's resolutions in. Like, I went plant-based, no meat, no eggs, no dairy, and I did that for at least 4 months, the first 4 months. Then I started adding in a little bit of dairy, a little bit of fish here and there, and towards the end of the year, probably around October, I started adding in maybe an egg once a month or something like that, just to see if those sort of changes would change my period. We'll get into that later. So 1st of January, I also went off the pill. That was not to fall pregnant, that was not to have anything to do with having another child. It was because I decided I wanted to get really healthy internally, and it didn't feel right taking that contraceptive pill that was full of synthetic, fake, non-natural substances for my body. So I went off the pill as well. So you could say it was a combination of things for me. Doing all this stuff and continuing with my lifestyle, continuing training the way I do, continuing living the way I do. Obviously I felt awesome for the first 4 months where I sort of detoxed my body, and then I kind of started going downhill. I started getting really tired. My skin, holy moly, I was like 16 again. I still have trouble with my skin. It broke out all over my chest, all over my back, all over my face, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I was like, that's okay, that's fine, it's the pill, I've gone off it. When I was 15, I had the same issues, that's why I went on the pill. So I remember getting my period when I was 15. I had irregular periods that whole entire year and really bad skin, and the doctor said, you should go on the pill, it will fix your skin. He didn't ask if I'd had normal periods or a normal cycle, he just was looking at a band-aid fix and put me on the pill. 18 years later, I came off the pill to have my son. I fell pregnant straight away, which was lucky. I then went back on the pill after I had my son for about 2 years. Probably a year and a half, 2 years, and then the beginning of this year went, nah, no more, I'm not doing any more. So all those issues when I was 15 have come back now when I'm 35, 16, 35 again. The bad skin, the feeling like, what the fuck is going on up here, that's all come back. Well, it did have in the beginning of the year anyway. So as I said, the first 4 months I felt awesome. I was almost detoxed, I had all this energy, I was losing like fluid retention in my body just from the diet and the changes and being off the pill. That's why I wanted to go off the pill as well, because I just held on so much fluid and cellulite. So when I went off that, I noticed a big change in my body, and it stopped with the fluid retention, which I was like, yes, I'll take the pimples over the fluid retention. And then come mid-year, I hadn't had a period. I think my first period was, I've got my app here. Does anyone else have this app, Clue? It's awesome. My first, I wouldn't have called it a period, was in May, and that was only like 3 days of really light spotting. So I was like, okay, I'll take it, and we'll just track it from there and see where that goes. And then, where are we? From May, I had nothing in June, so a whole another 30 days without a period, and then another 60, so it was about 64 days I had a period. So that was a 64-day cycle. I then decided I needed to do something about it because mentally I did not feel right. I was grouchy all the time, I was snappy at Clayton and my husband. I was so tired, like I could wake up after a 10-hour sleep, take Clay to kindy, come home, and I would lay on my bed and go back to sleep. And I'm like, this is not right. This does not feel like me. Training, I couldn't get into it. only trained probably 2 days a week, and I have only trained probably 3 days max all year a week, and that's all I've been able to maintain because of my energy levels are being sort of up and down so much. So I decided I'm not a type of person that sits back and goes, wonder what's going on. I'm like, right, what's going on? So I booked in with an acupuncturist. My acupuncturist wasn't back at the time, so I booked into another one. He made me up all these herbs and stuff, and I didn't take them. I don't have anything against Chinese herbs, but I need to know they're organic. I need to know they're not, processed and heavily laden with chemicals, which a lot of those Chinese herbs can be if you don't get them from the right source. So I thought, I'm just going to let it ride, I'm going to wait it out. I started taking my Pyrrole tablets, which is like a high-end dose of zinc, magnesium, omegas, what else is in there? Magnesium, zinc, and B vitamins, and found a little bit of a change in my mentality, but nothing in my cycles. So I then had another period 60 days later, so that's June, July, or August. That's when my acupuncturist came back from overseas, and I booked straight into him, and I'm like, help me. Please help me. This is what's been going on. I've only had 4 periods all year. I feel like a fucking crazy psycho. I'm tired all the time. I need help. So he gave me an acupuncture. I was about 50 days into my cycle then. He gave me an acupuncture treatment, and I think 3 days after I got my period, and I was just like, hallelujah. Since then, I've been having 40-day cycles. So since August, September, October, November, 40-day, 45-day cycles with that acupuncture and with the help from the acupuncture. And I'm on cycle day 2 now. And this was the shortest one I've had all year, which I was like, yes, which was 39 days. So I know my body is working itself out. I just have to be patient with it. Okay, so that's the back end of my story. But what I have come to learn over this whole entire year, over this journey of hormones being up and down, my moods being up and down, my energy levels being up and down, is to not take a back seat in your health, is to dive into things you don't understand. So I was never, ever taught about my periods or my cycle. I had to Google at 35 years of age how long a cycle should be. Like, is your cycle from when you have your period to when your period finishes? And I was like, I'm going to Google this. This is how clueless I was. So I learned that your cycle is obviously 28 days to 30 days is the normal average cycle. Day 1 is when you get your period, and it continues until you get your period again, and then it restarts. So day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5 is usually when you have your period, and then you move into 6, 7, 8, and so on. Where I learnt most about all of this was a girl on Instagram. Her name is Claire Baker, and I've started following her page. And you know what? I don't even know how I started following her page. You know when things fall into your lap, when you are meant to see them and you are meant to learn about them? That's how this happened. So I started following her, and I'm like, this chick is seriously passionate about her period. What is going on here? I need to find out why she just adores her cycle, which is what her book's called. And now I adore my cycle, thanks to her, because it's seriously cool. Like, it's a cool thing, and women need to get more involved in their cycles. So she teaches that day 1 to day 7, you are in your, so you're 4, okay, rewind, 4 weeks, okay, if you have a normal 30-day cycle. Mine's like this many, but 4 weeks. So it's about a week you're in each phase of the cycle. So your first week, day 1 to day 7, when you have your period, is winter. This is when you are moody, when you are bleeding, when you are eating all the chocolate, when you are tired, when you want to be left alone, when your husband irritates the fuck out of you, when your child irritates the out of you. It's your period, okay? And I feel like day 5 onwards, so day 5 through to another week, what's that, day 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, you move into spring. You feel better, you feel more energized, you are able to do more things around the house, you are able to have a smile on your face, you can go to work and come home and pack the dishwasher and clean up the house and satisfy your husband and satisfy your moods, and everything feels better and you just feel like you're in spring. Everything feels more happy. And I've noticed that too with my cycle. And then from then you move into summer, which is even better. You're feeling even more energized. You feel sexy. You want to wear nice clothes. You want to wear makeup. You want to jump out of the house and be sociable. And hubby's just like, yeah, my wife rocks. Like, she's just the coolest chick ever. And then bang! You go into crazy nutfield town, and it switches over and you turn into autumn. And autumn is probably around day 25 through to when you get your period again, day 28 to 30. Autumn is when you want to retreat back, you start getting moody, it gets a bit cold, you know, or autumn, but no, you retreat back, you start getting moody, you start getting irritated, fidgetated, I like to call it, which is fidgety and irritated put together. Your skin breaks out, you feel bloated and fat. Energy levels go through the roof. You want to eat all the carbs. You want to eat all the food in front of you. That's why you feel even worse and fat and bloated. But most importantly, you want to sleep all day long and you don't want to talk to people. And you curse at the bus driver who just cut you off on the road. And all of those things happen in autumn, in the lead up to your period again. And then you're back in winter, which you're just like, so that's the rundown of your 28 to 30 day cycle. Who knew about those 4 phases? If you are intuitive and you know your body, then you will understand that your body certainly moves through these natural cycles and rhythms week to week, and mood swings and energy levels and all of these things, appetite, training abilities, fitness abilities, they all fluctuate week to week with your hormones and your weekly, monthly cycle, I should say. So if you want to learn more about your cycle, like I did, I definitely recommend you go to Claire Baker. Her name's just Claire, I think it's _, let me check. Here we go, Claire Baker. Claire Baker. I learn a lot from her and I love what she does, and I bought her book and it taught me so much. Like seriously, it taught me so much. Yeah, so I have a lot of women sort of message me daily and say, I have irregular periods, my moods are fucking whacked off the charts, I'm tired all the time, I'm moody, what do you do? Like, what's going on? The doctor thinks I've got PCOS, you know, should I go back on the pill? And I'm like, it's completely your journey and up to you, but do you understand your cycle? What day are you on? I ask them, and they're like, huh? What do you mean? And I'm like, what day of the cycle are you on? Are you on day 28? Are you in your winter? Are you in your autumn? And they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I think women need to get more involved in their bodies, in their cycles, in their rhythms, because it happens every month without fail, unless you're like me, or like the other people who have irregular periods. And it teaches you a lot about your personality, it teaches you a lot about your moods, it teaches you a lot about your energy levels, and once you understand what is going on inside your body, where you are in your cycle, it can tell you a lot about your moods and your energy levels. Right now, I'm starting to get a little bit more energy. Not yesterday, day before, slept for 2 hours straight during the day. Today, I feel like I have a lot more energy, and that's only 2 days apart from each other. So if you don't know what's going on in your body, you could just be like, what? Like, who sleeps for two hours in the day one day, and the next day they're fine and they have all this energy? Well, you would understand if you track your cycles and you understand your body and you understand your hormones and what they're doing inside your body. So I'm not going to go into like your estrogen levels, your progesterone levels and all this sort of stuff, but that's something you're going to have to Google. Google the symptoms of like low estrogen, low progesterone. If you're constantly tired, like I mean the 30 days you're constantly tired, you're constantly moody, you hold on to a lot of like weight, all these sort of symptoms, then you need to go to the doctor and get a blood test and ask to find out what your levels are. What are your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone levels, and see if any of them are out of whack. Obviously, I did that first thing, like 4 months into it when I didn't get a period. I'm like, right, let's start here. Let's start at a blood test, see where my levels are. When I got my blood test back, everything was fine. Like, all of my hormonal levels were absolutely fine. All of my B vitamin, zinc, magnesium, potassium, all of those levels were fine. I'm like, okay, then what else is it? Because if they're fine, something else is not fine. I'm eating good. What can it be? So when I went to my doctor and I said that to him, I have a good doctor, and I'm like, these are all fine. I'm eating fine. I'm doing this fine. And he goes, okay. And he said, when was the last time we treated your cesarean scar? Quick rundown, big scars in your body, big traumatic scars in your body can be like a roadblock of communication in your body. So say this is your body communicating in harmony, and then you go and chop a big scar, something happens and you chop straight through, that communication center. So now there's a big scar in the middle of that communication center, and it's going to go every time, and your body's not going to be able to communicate effectively. So that's what happens with cesarean scars, or episiotomies, or you get your tonsils out, or big operations, or things like that, and you've got these big scars in your body. Your body really tries to keep up, but sometimes the communication will flick off pain or poor communication in certain areas. So I had my cesarean scar needled. Look up neural therapy, and that's what they do, isn't it? Look up neural therapy, and as soon as I had that done, the very next day I got my period. So you've constantly got to be that soldier that in the forefront who's digging through and figuring out what's going on with yourself and with your body. That's certainly what I did, and I feel like I've come to the point. I know it's taken me a year, and that's okay, it's a slow journey, but I feel like I've come to that point where I can finally sort of say, right, I know my periods are 40-day cycles now, but let's try and get them back to where they need to be, or if that's normal for me, that's normal for me. We'll just see how it pans out. Another thing he had an issue with was that I went plant-based, and that maybe my body needed a bit of meat, a bit of eggs, a bit of things like that, although I didn't really believe in that. I tried the theory, I'm not against anything like that. So this year alone I've had meat twice in the entire year, and I had lamb, a little bit of lamb one night. I eat fish, I'm not talking about fish, I'm talking about red meat. I don't eat chicken. I had a little bit of lamb, I think it was the 4th of October, because I went to a dinner and they served up lamb, and I'm like, gonna eat it. And then I had lamb probably a month following that. I also ate eggs probably twice in the month of October. Twice October, and then once in November, and then that was my 39-day cycle, so my shortest cycle. I'm going to see if the theory is right in me saying maybe I do need a bit of meat, maybe I do need a bit of eggs every now and then, So I'm not going to discard that. I'm going to see where my next cycle's at. If it's a long one, then I'll test it again. I'll eat some meat, I'll eat some eggs, and I'll go down that line. I'm just all about figuring things out step by step, gathering information here, gathering information there, and that's how you learn along the way, and that's what makes it fun anyway. So right now with my hormones, I feel a whole of a lot better up here. I did have like a period journal, a menstruation journal or a monthly cycle journal. Every day I would write down my feelings, my energy levels, my moods, if I was sexually active, if I felt sexually active, if I did not feel sexually active, all of those things I'd write it down. But I found that when I got to like day 30 and I hadn't got a period, I was starting to get more grouchy, more anxious, more frustrated and irritated as days went past that I wasn't getting a period. So this last month I completely stopped writing my cycle, and when I checked my Clue app, I was already on day 25, and I was like, oh, I feel really good actually. I feel like this whole month I felt quite happy and bubbly, and then it was only when day 35 hit that I just went. And then day 36, I slept all day. Day 37, I was moody as, and then day 38, or day 39, I got my period. So it was only kind of 4 days rather than like 2 weeks of being shitty and anxious and grumpy and not nice to be around. So that's my hormonal journey. I don't know if it helps you in any way, but if I could give you some advice, it would be to take charge of what's happening in your body. You don't have to listen to what everyone out there is saying, whether you've got PCOS, whether it's you need to go back on the pill, whether you need this or this or this. Feel it in yourself. Feel and understand and be intuitive. You as a woman have this intuitive guide inside your body that tells you what you need. Okay? So start one with a blood test. Go out and see, if you have problems with your periods and your cycle and your hormones. 1, go out, get a blood test. What are your hormonal levels doing? Are they high? Are they low? Are they normal? If they are normal. 2, diet. Maybe diet has a big thing to do with it. What can you cut down on? Sugar. Sugar's no good for any type of inflammation in the body. Maybe get rid of that. Do some research on diet. Do some research on the best foods that you can eat to help with hormones. Okay, so like maca powder or B vitamins, increase your B vitamins, increase your zinc levels, increase your magnesium levels. All these things help with women's hormones. Number 3, if you have done that, if you've checked off your blood test, if you've checked off your diet, if you've checked off your vitamins and minerals. Number 3, I would say, where are you on your cycle? Like, are you on day 40? Are you on day 12? Are you on day 25? Like, actually figure out where you are on your cycle and pinpoint why you might feel the way you feel in that monthly cycle, in that long extended cycle. Write it down, month to month, and then you have kind of a guesstimation of what's going on with you. Then I would highly suggest number 4, number 5, what are we up to? Acupuncture. Highly suggest acupuncture. Find a very good, reputable acupuncturist. Go to them, tell them what your issues are, tell them that you want help with your cycles or your periods, and they should be able to help you right from the get-go with your acupuncture. If that still doesn't work, then I would be inclined to do the scar treatment therapy, the neural therapy. You will have to find someone who does it. It's pretty, I don't know how hard it is to find someone who does that sort of treatment. That's why Google's always the best friend to me. Neural therapy Melbourne, neural therapy Perth, neural therapy America, like all over the world. That's Google is your best friend. And read, like Claire Baker, like go and educate yourself about what you don't know. The reason you don't know, or the reason that something happens to you, this is what I'm a big believer about, so listen up. The reason something happens to us is because we should be educating ourselves about that topic. I should have researched and educated and learnt about my hormones and my cycle when I was 15. So I'm getting to have a do-over or redo it now when I'm 35, and I'm really enjoying it. And I've learnt a hell of a lot about me and my body and my personality just by learning about my cycle and my periods. So step into those shoes of what it is that you are lacking, or read books, gather information. Your body is requiring that missing link, and you are the only person who can find it. Yes, you can get help from YouTubers, doctors, fertility specialists, naturopaths, acupuncturists. They are your helpers, but you are the tree that's roots are in the ground that can only grow if you feed it and you fill it with the right things. So that is my number 656 tip. I'm bad with counting. Blood test, diet, acupuncture, be your own researchologist, find everything out you can for yourself, neural therapy, and what else was there? Your period cycle. Where are you in your period? What day are you on? So if I message you on Instagram and I say, what cycle day are you on? You are going to be able to say, I'm on day 25. That's why I feel crazy. Yes, of course. See, if you understand your rhythms, you will understand a hell of a lot. So, hopefully this video was helpful. Do what YouTubers do, subscribe, like, boop, boop, boop. I don't mind. It's just a good way, it's a good outlet of talking to you guys a little bit more in depth about issues that I can't do on Instagram. So for those who are meant to see it will see it. That's my motto. And thank you for listening. I'm done. Ciao, ciao. For now.